And welcome back to the channel. We're gonna have some fun today. Really good fun. Well, it's actually not one day, it's gonna be multiple days. I already done this, so I'm just gonna share the knowledge with you. Because you are very important. So what I did is basically decrypted the F11 emulsion tube. Okay, this is what I found out. Is it doesn't really matter what kind of emulsion tube you run on their scale. They are all designed to run rich. It's actually towards the tail end where the wide open enrichment actually kicks in too early. Like way too early, like on the freeway, cruising too early. So these China ones, yeah, this is the China, they have the drilling in the wrong place. Okay. Those are kicking on at around 65. Of course, you know, I'm going by my transmission. My transmission has a taller gear, bus gear. Yeah, I was there. Might as well put it in, right? Yeah. Anyways, so your car would be like maybe 62, 60 miles an hour. You probably start getting rich. You probably notice that, and it doesn't go away. You got a wideband, and you're like, hey, why is it doing that, right? And you try to lean it out, and then you have other problems on your lower RPMs because you leaned it out too much. So what I discovered is basically you need to add some holes to this Chinese replica of a Weber, which wasn't made right. And I'm sorry to say that the Weber actually does the same thing. The F11 Weber does the same thing, except it does it at 5 miles higher. And that is where the crown differs. Okay, now this one is, what do you call it? A Weber. The crown, this crown right here, it has a bunch of little side drillings that are kind of sideways. It looks like a crown. Okay, that crown is actually lower when you look at it this way. Not this way. The main is right here. Okay, so the main pointing down. So the crown is actually lower. That gives you 5 miles more. 5 miles more. So you would start going rich at around 67 to 70 miles an hour. On me, I would go to like 73, somewhere around there, and then I start getting rich, like really rich, throughout the whole final RPM. Doesn't matter if I'm just cruising. Doesn't matter if I'm doing 80 or 85. It goes rich to hell. So we're going to fix that by adding holes, experimenting, and trying to figure out how to change the characteristics of these things. So let's tag along, and we're going to learn a lot. I mean a lot, because I already done this. I already know what I'm doing. I actually know what I'm doing. Oh, shit. No, seriously, I do know what I'm doing. Okay, just trust me. I'm not going to, I mean, I could turn this video into a 4-minute video. Literally just a 4-minute video. Okay, drill here, you're done. Have a nice day. I could do that, okay? There's no fun in that, okay? Because you're not learning anything. You're not learning why it's happening. So hopefully you guys will learn something out of this, and you're welcome. Check this out. $75 miles an hour. Never been able to do that at 75 miles an hour. It always goes rich at exactly 75 miles an hour. But what I did is I actually drilled the F11s below the crown. I made 2 holes of the same size, and that caused it to go leaner at cruise when I'm doing 75. I gotta pass these guys. I'm barely giving any gas. So right now like 76, something like that. Look. What? Okay, so based on what I've learned so far on the drillings and everything, you know, doing a lot of visualization in my head. And anyways, this one right here is original Weber. Okay, this is Weber. These are empty, so I didn't give a shit about these two. So I figured I'd play with these first before I transfer the knowledge to this original Weber F11. So these F11s, okay, you can see the crown is just really high, right? And this one's really low. Okay, the difference between these two before I drilled this hole here and that hole there actually goes through all the way. So it's two holes at the same level. Here, and it goes all the way to the other side. Okay, before I did that, what I noticed when I was running these is that when I would hit like 65, it would go like super rich. Like approaching 70, it would just like it would actually go into the rich section of the narrow band. When I went to this one, which is original Weber, I noticed I could go up to 70 miles an hour before I went into the rich, just like these regular empty ones. Okay, so I got 5 miles more out of that mistake that they made. I don't know if it's a mistake actually, but maybe they did it on purpose. This being up higher, this being up lower, this one actually ran leaner at a higher speed than these. So based on you know, what I've been learning about drilling the emulsion tubes, I go, okay, I know that, and I know that every time I hit, you know, 70 miles an hour, no, I'm sorry, 75 miles an hour with the this Weber, which is lower, I noticed that I start going rich when I hit, you know, 75. So I'm like, aha, okay, 65 at around 75, it goes super rich, okay? So I'm like, okay, so what if I just drill, you know, right there on these Weber ones? But I was like, I'm not going to mess with this. I'm not going to ruin them. So not that I can ruin them. I can just solder them shut. But, you know, I don't want to make too many holes on these. So I want to practice on these. So I did that drilling right there and that drilling right there for a total of 2 per drilling because it goes all the way through. It ran leaner. But I noticed that when I go above 75, it goes right back to rich. So I'm thinking drilling another hole. This is China. Okay. So what I could do here is actually drill another hole, let's say right there. Like right there. And it should not go rich, right? So that's exactly what I did. Thus, we have that hole right there. That hole. But it actually goes all the way through to the other side. See? So it's actually 2. And I put these in my car, and I was able to go all the way up to 75 with these Chinese impy style F11s. 75. And I was getting my vacuum down to 70 on the vacuum gauge on the computer that's, you know. I got it down that much, which meant I had to use less throttle, which is actually good, right? More gas mileage. So I figured, okay, because when I went over 75, I started having the same exact problem of going rich. The little needle on my narrowband would go into the rich. You know, I'll do it right here. Okay, it's like this. Okay. This is Stoich. I don't know how to spell Stoich. I'll just say that it's spelled like that. Rich. This is rich. This is lean. Okay, so basically, the needle, you know, my needle, I would actually go into rich once I went above 75 with this drilling, with this new drilling. So that's what I'm talking about. That needle, that little needle just went, you know, just went into the rich. Okay. So we've had an improvement, dramatic. If I go 80, it definitely goes into the rich. But if I stay at 75, I'm actually somewhere around here. Right there. Very close to rich, but still inside Stoich. See what I mean? Okay. So I go, okay. So now what we have to do is actually drill right here on the middle. Right there. okay, to lean that part out. Okay, so this, what I'm trying to say is this: when you're cruising, you know, on the freeway, I think that this whole area right here where the original drillings are. Let me see if I can make it a circle here. Not quite the straightest circle, but that circle right there, that border limits your drivability. That is drivability, okay? Anything below here, below that hole, that drilling that is original, anything below that, that is wide open throttle. Okay? How low? I don't know. Depends on the RPMs on your engine. Every car is going to be different. So nobody can give you a straight answer for that. But what I've determined is that this is cruise. You know, because this is throttle activated also. Just like the main, it's throttle activated, not just wide open, okay? So what I'm going to be doing here is actually be drilling another hole between these two. This is the one I drilled. See, it goes all the way through. No, wait. It's the wrong drill. This is the wrong size. I'm already using the drill on the other. Tell you what, I'll do this instead. See? It goes all the way through. It's my drill. See? My Milwaukee. Anyways, that's the drill. That's the hole that I drilled. And that actually got me more speed at Stoich. Versus, without that hole, I would have been kissing the rich. And sometimes it even goes like that much into Stoich, into rich. Okay. So you see where I'm going with this, okay? I hope I'm making sense. This is probably not making any sense. So I'm going to go ahead and drill. I'm going to punch a hole. And then I'm going to transfer this information to the other. I've got a little hammer. I'm going to do a punch. Okay. I see it. See if we can get this thing. There we go. Actually, it went through. So I'm right in the middle of this drilling and this drilling right here. And I'm also back here. This one right here. See? All right, so that is the idea. I'm going to transfer this information to the other three. The other three, so that we can get all four of them doing the exact same thing. Perfect. Okay. That is where we drilled a new hole. That was already there, though. That damage right there? That was already there. I don't really care. From what I understand, it doesn't really matter. The more rough your thing is, the better emulsion you'll get. So there you go. So we added that hole. Right, I wanted it to be kind of in the middle between that one and that one. Those two. It's a little off. Whatever. Who cares? Close enough. This one's pretty good. This one, I'm going to say it's dead on. This one, it's a little low. Whatever. Close enough. Government work. Whatever. I'm going to put it all back together now. All four of them are done. Now, these are my Impy, like I said, or China, whatever. I wasn't about to modify my original Webers. Okay. I want to test this first, do it on this, and then transfer the knowledge to the Weber ones, if this works fine. All right. Let's put these back on and go for a drive. Okay, so there we go. Okay, we probably lost a little vacuum, but I want to see what happens when I go 80. Sorry about the sun, it's not helping me. Get over. Okay. We're doing 80. Okay, 80. Blunt. And we are at 82. vacuum right there. The lower number, the better. Okay, so that ain't working. So you know what that means? It means that I have to drill even lower than the lowest drilling. Okay, going back to 75. Right there. Whatever. And this thing is starting to climb back up into Stoich. Okay, this is nothing more than a test, okay? So what I'm gonna do is actually, I'm gonna plug up a hole because I think I took too much fuel away in that area at 75. So I'm gonna plug up a hole, only one hole of the two that I drilled. And I'm actually gonna drill another hole, a set of holes lower than the factory drillings. Yes, we are. And so we went too far. Those 2 extra holes that we did actually cost me about 3 points on my vacuum scale. So we lost vacuum. Ever so slightly. It wasn't that bad. It still ran really good. Like, I would call it a pass, but we're going for perfection here. So we're going to go ahead and solder this hole right there that we drilled. We're going to leave the other one on the other side for a total of 3 drilling so far. But we're going to make one go away by soldering it. You know, I could use, what do you call it? I just caught my exhaust wrap box on fire. That just happened right now. That was all the smoke you saw. I just gotta be careful. Don't point it that way. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. She's been plugged. I'm going to do all 4 of them. Okay, so we're actually going to drill the drilling a little deeper on the emulsion tube. The reason is based on the experiments that I've been doing and stuff, I suspect that this emulsion tube, F11, it's supposed to, well, for it to be more drivability friendly, the drilling has to be deeper on the inside. It stops right here, right where my nail is, right there. That's where it just stops. And I suspect that it needs to go deeper like the other emulsion tubes. I've been looking at all the emulsion tubes, how deep they go. And the F11 goes a little deep, but not as deep as the other ones. So what I'm going to do is actually like try to drill another drilling right there. But I just need another like 2 mils to clear, you know, so that I can make a nice hole through. So yeah, so that's why we're doing that. So I have a piece of tape to let me know when I'm there. Okay, that's it. So now I can drill sideways, and I'll have enough, you know, depth to clear, you know, to make the hole. So that's why I was doing it. So I'm going to do the same thing to this one and to the other 2. So we have a matching set because we're going to drill another hole, a lower hole. Okay, so we're drilling the new holes. I already marked them, punched them and everything. That's it. New hole. New hole. Okay. That's going to be like way at the bottom. So I'm hoping that that's going to lean out my cruise. This is just an experiment, okay? Experiment. Do not go ape on what I'm doing here. Experiment. That's how I learn. That's just how I manipulate things in my mind and shit. All right. So far, let's just see what we've done so far. We've basically plugged that hole right there, and we added a new hole down here. Okay, you can see where I made the scribe right there, okay? This is not an uneducated guess, okay? I'm pretty sure what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. This is why I had to drill it a little bit deeper, so that my, let's just say my wide open throttle doesn't kick in earlier enrichment. That's what's been happening. The wide open throttle enrichment is kicking on. And this is why I had to drill it a little lower so that I can make that hole a little lower. Less fuel. And, okay, so we drilled that one right there. We're going to spin it. And we drilled that one right there. Okay, so, oops, sorry, that one. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see with when the camera's in the way. So I did this to all four. So let's go for a drive and see what happens. See if we can lean out the wide open enrichment. That's the main problem. These carburetors, I don't think. I'm almost pretty sure that whoever designed these carburetors did not intend. Listen to me. Did not intend for these carburetors to be used in the street, as in drivability, okay? They intended these carburetors to be, wide open throttle, or, track, short track or long track, or some sort of a racing application, drags or whatever. That's what they were designed for. They were not designed for the street. I don't think there is a emulsion tube on their list that is specifically designed for drivability and fuel mileage. They don't have it. I looked at all their emulsion tubes, and I couldn't see anything that would give that. Okay, just by looking at the holes, I can tell why or how they're going to be running just by looking at the holes. Yeah, after a while, you start getting it. Just start getting it. So this is a very educated guess of what I'm doing here. Okay, so let's see what happens when when we hit the pavement.
Okay, so it looks like I had a feeling this was going to happen. It looks like we have to do an air correction. I need to bring down my air corrector from 130 to maybe either 200 or 210. We're running really lean on the fuel. Check this out. I'm gonna floor it. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. See? That is an indication we're running really lean. Yeah, so the whole RPM just sucks. I mean, coming on the freeway, I revved the piss out of it, and it just seemed like it was just like, it just didn't want to go. So we're gonna go ahead and increase our, I can do it two ways. I have two options. One, increase the main from 127 to 130. That should probably do it. Or bring down my air corrector down to 210 or a 200. That should take care of that. Okay, so we've learned that basically the more holes you make on your emulsion tube, F11, doesn't really matter what you're using, F1, F2, F7, whatever, you're gonna need to correct by adding more fuel, either by air corrector or by main. All right.
So my options were increase the size of the main, or the air corrector, lower the air corrector to get more fuel throughout the whole entire RPM. So I decided to go with the main. We went from 127s to 130s. Okay, these are 130s now. So let's put them back on and go back on the road.
Okay, we're at 75. Okay, I think we're going the wrong way. This is leading me to think that two holes at the very bottom were too much. I mean, look, that's 70. 70 miles an hour. Look at it, it's 87. It's almost wide open. It's almost like if it was wide open. Check it out. Wide open, it's only going to go to like, I'm not that far away from wide open. So definitely air corrector is not going to fix it, obviously, because we're going the back. It's actually increasing as I go with a smaller air corrector.
Okay, so since everything seems to be going to shit, in other words, I already adjusted the the air corrector and the main, and I know I have them correct, but I've lost vacuum like you wouldn't believe, which means the emulsion is not happening because I've got too many holes. So I'm going to go with, you know how we drilled that one right there? And behind it, that one right there? The drill just goes through. Okay. And that caused my vacuum to drop all the way down to 70, which is a lot of vacuum at 70. The lower the vacuum number, the more vacuum you have. So we got it down to 70, okay? So I'm figuring that the emulsion tube cannot handle more than 2 holes, okay? It goes to shit. In other words, the whole emulsion thing goes to shit. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to solder that, even though that got me up to 75. Well, actually like 76, 77. That's where it got me to. But this is because of my gearing, okay? The gearing on my transmission. You guys would be somewhere around 70, maybe 72, somewhere in there, if you have the stock gearing. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that one, and we're also going to get rid of that one. We already soldered the other one, remember? Right here. We got rid of that one. So that'll leave us with that one right there, the way bottom one, and the other side, that one. Okay? So 2 holes. That's what we're going for. We want to see what happens. I have a feeling that we might have some success this way. So I'm going to go ahead and solder it right now. Ew. Ah! I didn't mean to do that. There we go. There we go. Just flick it. Just flick it. Yeah, I kind of screwed up there. So, it's fine. It's fine. It'll come off. Okay, if you screw it up like I did, just use like a wet sponge and just go like this, and it comes right off. Because it still looked like there was a stain of solder, so I just used the little emery cloth and made it look like that again. See? Soldered right there. That's a hole. It's another hole. And I still need to solder that one right there. Okay, these jets and emulsion tubes, F11s, Chinese, they're probably going in here for the last time. I don't think I'm going to be modifying these anymore. I got all the drillings exactly where I want, which is the lower part of the emulsion tube. 2 holes. That's it. That's all you need. Don't go 3. Don't go 4. Or your emulsion will go to shit. Just 2. You can put it anywhere you want, really, if you want. You know, anywhere between the crown and where I showed you. I drilled those 2 bottom holes, and that's it. Whoops, I forgot. I gotta put the top back on, right? There we go. Okay, I'll put the nuts on, the retaining nuts for the covers later on. So that is it. That is it. We are done. We're going for a drive. Going for a drive. I expect it to run pretty good, just like it did when we did 2 holes right below the crown. But the difference is this time we're just moving the wide open throttle enrichment to a higher RPM range or cruise speed. You know, I expect it to hit, I'm just gonna be guessing, somewhere around 85 to start to enrich. You know, 80, 85, somewhere in there. You know, at that speed in a bug, you shouldn't be going that fast in a bug, okay, to begin with. It's a death trap, dude. Anyways, yeah. So I'm good if I have good fueling all the way up to 80, 85. I'm good. 90, I don't know what it's going to do at 90. I'm going to try 90, see what happens. But I expect it to be below 90 on the vacuum scale, which is very little vacuum at almost wide open throttle, because 95 is wide open throttle. Okay, it feels a little peppier. It's right back, because I got all the jetting and everything back to the way it was when we got 70
on the vacuum scale, which is really low and good for gas mileage. It feels peppier. It just feels peppier, you know. Okay, so we're gonna see what that does, and on the freeway. See how it feels when I go on the freeway. Oh yeah, it picks up really nice. Oh, definitely really nice. Yeah, gotta slow down. Much better. Okay, so we have our power back, but I'm wondering what our vacuum is going to be. Right now I'm slightly going uphill, so it's irrelevant. I can't look at the data right now. Okay, we are on flat ground. Ah, my computer died. There we go. Doing 75. Alright, so there's a lot of traffic here, so it might be messing with my vacuum, but I'm barely cracking my throttles open, and I'm doing 70. I need to pass these people up. But everything, it's all indications is we are very fuel efficient right now. Just having 2 drillings. Let's see what happens. Right now, I'm like doing like 76. Okay. Let me move over. It's still 76. $76, 74. That's actually pretty good for, 75 miles an hour. Let's see what happens with 80. I think it's gonna go to shit. Okay, we're at 80. 82. It's not bad. Considering you're doing 80, that's a lot of load. The difference between 5 miles is a lot of load, especially when the wind. So, it's 80. 80. That's pretty good. I don't think it's gonna get any better. So we're just gonna call it a win and leave it where it is. Okay, that's about 90. We're in Mexico. That's not bad. 88. So it affected the whole RPM range. Perfect. Full enrichment doesn't kick in like a lot. Okay, it's right on the edge of rich. Right on the edge. It's not going into rich. So we're still at Stoich. This is good. Just thought you want to see that. Okay, so I'm doing like 80. Ah, come on. Trust me, it's 80. So I'm actually able to do 80 now, and I'm still inside Stoich by a lot. I consider that to be a lot. But when I go wide open throttle, this thing pulls like it's never pulled before. Now I have like mid-range power. Like it just pulls really hard in the mid-range, all the way up to 5,600 RPM, which is I'm governed at 5,600 RPM. So I just start popping, pop, 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 pop. Okay, this thing pulls really hard now. Before it was just drowning in too much fuel. When I was doing wide open throttles. I mean, it still run good, but it just didn't have that extra little zippy doodah. And the exhaust, when I go wide open throttle, and I'm climbing between 3,000 RPMs all the way up to 5,600 RPMs, it sounds very crisp, like Dorito crisp. I don't know what else to compare it to, but basically it sounds very crisp. And it's the best modification I've done to these carburetors, for sure. Yeah, anyways.
And we're at the end of the video, which is basically summary. Okay, what did we learn with this experiment? Basically, we learned, okay, this is the China, this is the Weber. This is non-drilled. I still have more of these. I have a shitload of these China drilled ones. Yeah. This is the Weber. Okay, what we learned is very quickly, I'm just gonna go really quick on this. You can drill 2 holes, no more than 2 holes, because if you drill more than 2 holes, the emulsion just goes to shit. Literally, it just ceases to function correctly. So, yeah, don't do more than 2 holes. If you want to do more than 2 holes, then you would have to solder one of these crown drillings. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to bring up the fuel and get the correct emulsion. No matter what correct air corrector you put on here, it'll still go to shit because you don't have the velocity anymore in here to get the proper emulsion or atomization on the fuel and the air. Okay, so you would have to plug holes right here on the crown if you go more than 2 holes down here below the crown. Okay, that's a tech tip right there. So be careful what you're doing. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed the captions. The F17 and F20 are actually very close to what I'm doing right here on this drilling, this very, very bottom drilling that we decided to do. Okay. I do not know if the drillings up here are different. These drillings right here, I do not know. Don't know. So, you know, it's a crapshoot. The easiest thing to do is actually you drill 2 holes on your emulsion China ones, and you should be fine. Those 2 holes should be below the crown. Okay, what's the crown? The crown is these side drillings. Got a whole bunch of them, right? Yeah. Anyways, these crown drillings, below that, that's where you would drill. This is where we got our best vacuum and best emulsion. Okay. Problem was that as soon as I hit about 77 miles, it would go right back to super rich. Okay. So I tried, doing these holes right here. Now I did not test these 2 holes, because this one also goes all the way through, by soldering this one and soldering this one. Okay, so that's something you guys can do. Okay, to drill right just a little bit lower and see how far you can go. Because I say once you get above 80, you're good, man. You're good. You don't need to. You shouldn't be driving your bug above 80. Okay, all right. It's not safe. Anyways, so I did not test that. I'm hoping if you guys want to go ahead and test it, whatever. But I think that as long as you drill 2 holes below the crown on your China ones, you will have a dramatic improvement. Dramatic improvement. I decided to go a little lower, like the F17 and F20, just to see what would happen, because my goal was to move the entire RPM enrichment higher. Okay, because these are throttle activated also. It's not just the main that's throttle activated. It's also the emulsion tube is also throttle activated. So if you hear, oh, the emulsion tube, is wide open throttle, no. Actually, this emulsion tube, it starts working, I'm gonna say probably like 1500 RPMs. Okay, it starts to function way up here. It starts functioning. Okay, once you reach a certain load or a certain speed on the throttle, and miles per hour, and you start going below the crown in functionality because of the throttle, being open at a certain percentage, and there's certain load on the car, maybe wind or whatever. Okay, anything below that, that is, I'm gonna say highway speeds. Okay, right below the crown, without drilling anything, all the stock holes, I'm gonna say 65 max, and then you start going super rich. If you go 70, you go, whoa, I'm going super rich. Okay, and it'll stay like that all the way up to, I don't know, whatever you have your engine governed at, maybe 7,000 RPMs, 8,000 RPMs, 6,000 RPMs, whatever. It'll go rich. So what you're just trying to do is move that enrichment a little higher to a more practical location, which is, for me, it's like 80. I'm trying to hit 80. Hey, yeah, about 80 is good. So this one right here, I noticed that the enrichment starts to hit at that level, starts hitting noticeably on the narrow band, you know, going into the rich. It starts hitting at around 80, 82, 85, somewhere in there. It starts hitting. You start noticing it. Now, I did go up to 90, okay? And you saw it, it actually, the narrow band actually was literally just a hair above rich. Still inside stowage, but hair above rich. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Exactly what I wanted. Okay? Now, my vacuum right there at 90 was actually like, it was 88, 87, around there. Okay? Right there. That's not bad. Okay? That's actually pretty good. So, all right. So, that's what we learned on these China emulsion tubes. You can transfer this information to these Weber ones. These Weber ones have the crown a lot lower. Okay, if you put these two together, you could probably see. Okay, you probably see right there that the crown on this Chinese is a lot higher. The Weber is a lot lower. The Weber gives you about 5 to 7 miles more before it starts going rich. The China one is, yeah, this is 7 miles below the Weber one. So the Weber, you can go up to like 72, maybe 73, and you start going rich. Of course, that's related to my transmission speed, or transmission gearing is actually taller. And because of it, I'm able to achieve higher speeds. But you guys would be on these China, I'm going to say 63, somewhere around there, 60, between 60 and 63. And then you're going to go rich after that. With this Weber one, you're probably going to start going rich around 65 to maybe 68, 67, somewhere in there. You start going rich with the Weber one. Okay, so they both do it. They both do it. So I would just transfer this knowledge over to the Weber if you want to do the Webers. But you know what? The Chinese ones are working so good that I'm not going to mess with them. I'm just going to leave it. Now, this is the measurement that I use for that final drilling, which is just right there. Okay, right in the middle of that hole. Okay, that's where I drilled, 2 of them. See, there's the other one. All right, that's the measurement. You don't have to go that low. I would personally experiment, you know, a little higher, maybe at the same level of the lower holes that there are here. I think there's 4 of them. Yeah, there's 4 at that level. So if you add another hole right there, right between those 2, that would also probably get you the leaning effect when it comes to the enrichment at high cruise speeds. This is not that difficult to figure out, okay? Not that difficult. I figured it out, okay? It just took a little 3 weeks. Actually, 3 weeks of, you know, spare time. I didn't have too much spare time because I'm a trucker and I work like over 10 hours a day. So, yeah, it's like that. So, but 3 weeks, whatever, I figured it out. I know how they work now. I know exactly where I have to drill if I have to drill. But see, I'm going by my vacuum and my computer. You can use a vacuum gauge also. And I'm also going by my narrow band. If I had a wide band, oh, this would have been much easier. But I don't have a wide band. So narrow band is the very minimum you need to do this. Your jetting has to be dead on. You might have to do a slight adjustment on your air correctors. Your main might, you probably don't have to mess with your main, okay? But your air corrector, you are going to have to go probably higher or lower. I predict that it's going to be lower because it's going to lean. It's going to have a lean effect when you drill more holes. So, okay. That is pretty much it, muchachos. Adios, muchachas. Adios, muchachos. Have a good one. So I'm using my precise, you know, a better precise angle so that they're not crooked or anything like that. Because my other ones look like crap, but they're still working. So, but I just figured I have another set of Chinese emulsions, so I'm going to transfer that knowledge over to this, so that way I don't have a lot of solder balls everywhere. They're still functioning good, but I mean, I have another set, so I'm just going to do those 2 holes right there, because that's where I determined that it works best. So, where's my other one? Where's the drilled one? Where did I put it? There it is. It's hiding. See? It looks like crap. But see these are not like super straight. They're like angled and stuff because I did it with my drill. So that's just it. I just want it to be pretty straight, you know? So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, you can do it with either way. You can do it either way. They still function fine. I'm out of here.